Everything changed the moment the truth started coming out. The kind of truth that doesn't just hurt people, it destroys lives, breaks trust, and turns allies into enemies. What once looked like a simple story of love, power, and survival has now become a dangerous game where no one is safe, and just when it felt like things couldn't get more intense, Season 2 Part 1 pushed every character to the edge, leaving behind questions that feel impossible to ignore. At the beginning of this journey, everything seemed almost controlled, like every move had a purpose and every character knew their place. But that illusion didn't last long. Slowly, we started seeing cracks in relationships that once felt strong. The main character, who once appeared confident and in control, began facing pressure from every side. Trust became rare, and even the closest connections started to feel uncertain. Every decision carried weight, and every mistake came with consequences that couldn't be undone. As the story moved forward, the tension didn't just grow, it exploded. Secrets that were hidden for so long began to surface, and with each reveal, the situation became more complicated. Characters who once stood together started pulling apart, driven by fear, ambition, or hidden motives. It became clear that no one was completely honest, and everyone had something to lose. The balance of power kept shifting, making it hard to tell who was truly in control anymore. What makes this part of the story even more powerful is how personal everything feels. It's not just about big dramatic events, it's about emotions, betrayal, and survival. The main character is no longer just reacting to situations, but is being forced to make tough choices that define who they really are. And these choices don't just affect them, they impact everyone around them. Every action creates a ripple effect, pulling others deeper into the chaos. At the same time, the antagonist's presence becomes stronger and more threatening. Their moves are more calculated, more dangerous, and far more unpredictable. Instead of direct confrontation, they begin to play a deeper game, manipulating situations from the shadows. This makes the conflict even more intense because the danger is not always visible. It's hidden, quiet, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. By the time we reach the middle of Season 2 Part 1, it's clear that things are no longer about winning or losing, it's about survival. The characters are pushed into situations where they have to question everything: who they can trust, what they believe in, and how far they're willing to go to protect themselves. The emotional pressure builds with every scene, making every moment feel heavier than the last. And just when it feels like there might be a way out, the story takes another sharp turn. New information changes everything again, forcing the characters to rethink their strategies. Plans start to fall apart, alliances become fragile, and the line between right and wrong begins to blur. No one is fully good. No one is fully bad. Everyone is just trying to survive in their own way. This is what makes the story so gripping. It keeps pulling you in, making you question every character and every decision. And as we move closer to Part 2, one thing becomes very clear. The real storm hasn't even started yet. As the story moves deeper, the calm that once existed completely disappears, and everything starts to feel unstable. The events after the earlier conflicts don't settle anything. Instead, they make things worse. Every character is now dealing with the consequences of choices that cannot be taken back. What once felt like small mistakes now turns into serious problems, and the pressure begins to build from all directions. No one gets a moment to breathe. And that constant tension is what drives the story forward. The main character is no longer standing in a safe position. Instead, they are caught between fear and responsibility. They know that whatever they do next will not only affect their future, but also the lives of people around them. His creates a heavy emotional weight, making even simple decisions feel dangerous. You can see the change clearly. The confidence they once had is now mixed with doubt. But at the same time, this struggle also starts shaping them into someone stronger, someone who is slowly learning how to survive in a world where nothing is guaranteed. At the same time, other characters begin to reveal sides of themselves that were never fully shown before. Some who appeared loyal begin to act differently, raising questions about their true intentions. Their behavior becomes harder to predict, and trust starts to break down piece by piece. Conversations that once felt normal now carry hidden meanings. And even silence starts to feel suspicious. It creates an atmosphere where every interaction matters, and even the smallest detail can change everything. The antagonist becomes even more dangerous during this phase, not because of loud actions, but because of quiet control. Instead of attacking directly, they begin to move carefully, placing pressure in ways that are harder to detect. This makes the situation more intense because the threat is always present. Even when nothing obvious is happening, their strategy is built on patience, waiting for the right moment to strike, and that makes them far more powerful than before. It becomes clear that they are not just reacting, they are planning ahead. As the story continues, the lines between right and wrong begin to fade. Characters are forced into situations where they must make choices that go against their own values. This is where the emotional depth of the story really stands out. It's no longer about being a hero or a villain. It's about doing whatever it takes to protect yourself or the people you care about. And sometimes that means making decisions that come with regret. Another important shift happens in the relationships. Bonds that once felt unbreakable start to weaken under pressure. Misunderstandings grow, and unspoken truths create distance between people. Even when characters want to trust each other, the fear of betrayal holds them back. This makes every relationship feel fragile, like it could fall apart at any moment. And when something finally does break, it hits harder because of everything that led up to it. The pacing of the story also becomes sharper and more intense. Events start happening closer together, leaving little time for recovery. Just when a character begins to understand one problem, another one appears, often even bigger than the last. This constant movement keeps the tension high and makes it clear that things are only going to get more complicated from here. By the end of this phase, one thing becomes very clear. There is no going back to how things used to be. The story has moved too far, and the characters have changed too much. The choices they've made have locked them into a path that will only lead to bigger confrontations. Every step forward now feels like it's leading towards something unavoidable, something that will test every character in ways they are not ready for. And that is exactly what makes the next part so unpredictable. At this stage of the story, everything begins to feel tighter, almost like the characters are trapped in a situation they can no longer escape. The pressure is no longer coming from just one direction, it's everywhere. Every move is being watched, every decision is being judged. And every mistake feels like it could be the one that changes everything. The sense of control that some characters once had is now completely gone, replaced by uncertainty and fear of what might happen next. The main character now reaches a point where hesitation is no longer an option. Earlier, they could take time to think, to question, and to doubt. But now, things move too fast. They are forced to act, even when they are unsure. This creates a different kind of strength, not confidence, but survival instinct. You can see how much they've changed, not because they wanted to, but because the situation demanded it. Their choices become sharper, more direct, and sometimes even risky, because playing safe is no longer enough. At the same time, the people around them begin to show their true priorities. Some choose to stand close, even when the risk increases, proving that loyalty still exists, even in chaos. But others slowly step back, choosing their own safety over everything else. This shift in behavior makes it clear that trust is now a rare thing, and holding onto it comes with a cost. The group that once felt connected now feels divided, with each person thinking about their own survival first. The antagonist, on the other hand, becomes more active, but not in an obvious way. Their presence is felt through actions that seem small at first but lead to bigger consequences. They create situations where others are forced to make difficult choices, almost like setting traps that cannot be avoided. This kind of control makes them even more dangerous because they don't need to be everywhere their influence is enough. It's no longer about power through force, but power through manipulation. As tensions rise, secrets that were hidden earlier begin to come out, but not all at once. They appear slowly, piece by piece, each one adding more weight to the story. And the more these truths are revealed, the more complicated everything becomes. Some secrets change how characters see each other, while others completely shift the direction of the story. It creates moments where everything feels like it's about to fall apart, but instead, it becomes even more intense. Emotions also reach a breaking point during this phase. Anger, regret, fear, and even guilt start to take over. Characters are no longer able to hide what they feel. And this leads to confrontations that feel real and heavy. Words are no longer soft, they carry pain,